you had a discussion with Trent Horn some time ago on the topic of the Theophanies, which I found kind of interesting. I know we're a little off topic now, but that just goes to prove this kind of error in accepting and being super ecumenical to other religions, because Trent was saying, yeah, there is no Trinitarianism in the Old Testament. There's no Theophanies. I mean, he's essentially stating what some of the popes have said, which is that Judaism is the elder brother. So it's kind of assuming that it's not a different religion. It's just an incomplete Christianity, which
exactly. Yeah, which is totally false. If you read the epistle to the Galatians, Paul makes it very clear that the only seed of Abraham that are accepted are Christians. Christianity is the only way to be the seed of Abraham. And why is that? Well, Paul's argument in Galatians and in Romans in chapter 4 and in Hebrews in the discussion of the Sabbath in chapter 4, but all of those texts argue that the gospel was preached to the Jews in various ways and signs and symbols. They don't have a different path or way to be saved other than us. Everyone is
dual covenant.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone is saved via faith in the future coming Messiah or in us looking back to the Messiah that came. That's the only way to be saved. And this is why in Hebrews 11, he can say that we're all part of the same heavenly Jerusalem. All of us, whether you're Samson, Moses, etc., Basil, Paul, St. Simeon the New Theologian, we're all part of that same body. That's the argumentation of Hebrews 11. And that's why it's not a different gospel that was preached. Again, go back and read John 5-9. Jesus argues with the Pharisees over and over and over. I was the one with Abraham. I was the one with Moses on the mountain. Moses was there with me face to face. I am, in other words, I'm the face of Yahweh. That's what Jesus is arguing in John 5-9 with the Pharisees. So this means that they don't have to have the terminology correct of homoousios and, eternal generation. They don't have to have that terminology to know there is Yahweh, there is his angel of the covenant, and his spirit. And that's who the Old Testament Hebrew worshipers worshipped. That is the triad. And so Trent was making all these fallacies and equivocations by thinking that, oh, well, they didn't know the word Trinity, so they weren't Trinitarian. Oh, really? You sure you want to make that argument? Because the gospel, yeah, it's a Muslim argument, and the gospel writers didn't know the word Trinity, so they weren't Trinitarian. I mean, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right to go back to that, because it fits with Islam very well, because the motivation of those Vatican II texts, Lumen Gentium 16 and Nostra Aetate, both of those texts, which Trent knows he has to defend, put him on the horns of a dilemma, Trent horns of a dilemma, where he has to basically say, well, the Old Testament is a Unitarian thing, and that's the shared religion that we have with Muslims and Jews. Sorry, it's not.
Yeah, that's totally nonsensical.
Divinity raises the humanity of Christ through theosis, and that's exactly what we experience.